Yanic Konan Niederhauser. Say that 5 times fast. The Penn State big man is rising up draft boards, I think more than anybody else, Riley. He's been the biggest pre-draft riser, one of them. And given who is coming back to school, there's a good chance he may end up finding himself going in the back end of the first round. If not, he seems pretty much locked into at least going early in the second round. We were a little bit torn on Niederhauser as a unit here on the Sleepers Media consensus big board. Checked at number 51 for us. You had him at 40. I had him at 68. Pretty wide range.
Wow, I didn't realize you were that low on him.
Greg had him at 34, Card at 36, Dion at 69. Dion was a lower man than me, but you're one of the ones who is a believer in what Yanic can do, and I'm guessing be in the NBA. So what are his strengths that cause you to lean more into that upside?
The physical tools, that's the big sell, the dunks, the blocks, all of that combined. Like he's someone who measured, I think he's a 7 footer with a 7'3" wingspan, really good hands. Like anytime you read a scouting report on him, that's one of the first things people highlight is like if you throw him a lob, he is going to catch it. And he's just a really good drop coverage big who's a freak athlete. And I don't know, he's already 22, which I don't think that's like a death sentence by any means. But when you look at how little basketball he's played at the college level, like he played under 20 minutes a game at NIU the year before he transferred to Penn State. Just played 25 minutes a game last year. Played 12 minutes a game, averaged 2 points a game at NIU his freshman year. There is like an interesting argument that maybe he just needs more experience and needs more reps, and there even could be a little more upside there that we haven't fully seen, even if he is a little bit older.
Yeah, he fits the physical profile, right? Of who you want in as a prototypical NBA big man right now, traditional
Hmm.
NBA big man right now. If you have to have the athleticism, and he's got it in droves. But as you mentioned, he is not the production, at least at Penn State, had not matched the talent level that we are seeing right now. So what's the cause of that? What are the weaknesses in his game?
I mean, the weakness I would say right now offensively, it's a slight weakness just to call him a play finisher, a lob threat. Like you don't really want to run stuff for him. Well, I will say he like can attack from the nail off of 1 to 2 dribbles. He's not completely like clueless on offense as just a lob guy. But you're not going to run him out of like pick and pops or probably even use him as like a dribble handoff playmaking threat a ton right away. And beyond that, I would even say as good as he is in drop coverage and as like emphatic of a shot blocker he is, he's like a little like he wasn't slow footed for a college big man, but he's I wouldn't say he's like fleet of foot for NBA standards, and I think that could hinder him some just in terms of like switching onto smaller players, in terms of like closing out if he's called upon to do that. Yeah, or even times guarding in space is not really a strength for him yet.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's just he hasn't quite put it together. Like he is a
Hmm.
little bit more of a workout warrior at this point than production, but there are signs of growth in his game. It's why he was on the draft radar in the first place.
Yeah, I would even say from that, like, despite not playing under 30 minutes a game at his last two stops, he led the Big Ten in block shots and he led the MAC in block shots 2 years ago. Like, I like taking a gamble on that guy where, he's not the most versatile defensively, but he's just gonna block a ton of shots. I think that's valuable.
Absolutely, absolutely. We've got 7 different categories we're going to go through here for Yannick. We've done this for all of our top 80 prospects. Make sure you check out all the other 79 videos on the Sleepers Media YouTube channel. First one is going to be one word to describe his game. You're going to go first, and then I am, and then we'll discuss our words. So, what is your one word for
It's
Yannick?
a it's a hyphenated word. It's Swiss donkey knife.
My word was idea, but I want to go through the Swiss donkey knife first.
Because he's Swiss, but he is not a Swiss Army knife. I wouldn't say he's the most versatile, but his dunks are disgusting. Like his dunk highlight package, insane. Like if I was an NBA GM, like you could convince me to take him in the top 20 if you just showed me 3 minutes of Yanic Konan Niederhauser dunks.
That's why my word is idea, because I think right now the idea of him is what you are drafting.
Hmm.
The idea of him is what people are excited about. It's not who he is right now. It's the idea of what he can be with a little bit more development,
Hmm.
a little
I'm
bit
with
more
you.
season.
Hmm.
Sometimes that doesn't always come to fruition, but to me, he is the ultimate like projection guy in this draft.
Makes a lot of sense. I think anytime you see someone who was, I wouldn't say he was off the radar, but I remember when it was first announced he was testing the draft. I remember thinking like, huh, this is really interesting that he's not hitting the portal as well, because like surely he's not going to stay in, you know? And I think he could be a really productive college big for a better program than Penn State. But anytime you have guys like that who shoot up the boards after workouts, I think idea is quite applicable.
Is he more likely to hit his floor or his ceiling in the NBA?
I went with ceiling. Do I feel great about it? No, but I'm like so intrigued by the ceiling that I'm falling for the athletic testing, Ralph. I'm falling for like the combine videos, all of that, man. It's drawing me in.
I went with floor, which I not to say he can't be productive and stick around the NBA for a while. I partially think the ceiling is like the best rim protecting lob catcher big men that we've seen in the NBA, right?
Hmm.
I think that's the ceiling. The floor is somebody who remains an idea and doesn't turn that into production. I think is far more likely to do that than I am somebody who is like a valuable starter in the NBA, which I think is
Right.
on on the table for him. Wouldn't surprise me. I just don't think it's as likely.
Hmm. Hmm.
What would be the best team fit for him? Again, projected to go late first, early second round. A number of teams that are in that range. It's also prime trade territory. People trading up, trading back. So where do you think he would end up? Best spot for him.
I threw him to the Timberwolves at 31 as like a Gobert backup, and maybe
Ah,
when Gobert does his disappearing act in the playoffs, maybe you throw Yanic out there and see if it's any different.
I went with the Nets. And
You love throwing players I like on the Nets, Ralph.
well,
Or
I
maybe.
think for somebody like this, you need a long runway to, I think, get him some of the experience and get him some of the development. The Nets have that. You're going to allow, like, if he's on the Nets, he's going to be able to play through mistakes, and he's not going to have
Mhm.
to worry about, you know, every little thing that he does looking over his shoulder because the Nets would be, I assume, should they take him, invested in his development.
Mhm.
And that involves playing time. I think that would work out well for him, but the Timberwolves behind Rudy Gobert, that's a really good system fit.
Mhm. And it's like, how old is Gobert? He's not going to play forever. I feel like a lot of
30
times,
something, right?
yeah, I feel like a
30.
lot of times those big 7 footers don't necessarily have the longest shelf life. Like there could be more opportunity than he would expect sooner rather than later.
Rudy Gobert is 32. He will turn 33 the day after the draft.
So he's basically on the doorstep of death. So great fit for Yannick.
Riley, I'm older than Rudy Gobert. Thank you for
I am the same age as Rudy Gobert.
that. 1 month. All right, good that we're on the doorstep of death. Anyway, in 5 years, we had different options we could pick for where Yanic Konan Niederhauser was going to be in 5 years. All NBA, All Star, starter in the league. Is he a bench guy playing the G League overseas, or is he hosting a podcast somewhere? So where do you have him in 5 years?
I have him on a bench somewhere, on an NBA bench, so to speak, to clarify that, with the caveat that there's a chance that he could just be like, "Nah, dude, I'm not getting the play time I want. Like, let me just go back and like hoop closer to home." Like that wouldn't be all that surprising if he's just like, "Nah, this isn't for me. Let me go hoop overseas."
I went with G League. Overseas, it was between G League and overseas for me. Partially for that reason, partially because I think he's going to be a guy who goes up and down quite often.
Yeah, I
I
could
don't
see
think I
that.
don't think he's going to stick on a roster. I don't think he's going to stick on a team, but he's going to be somebody for the first good bit of his career. People are still enthralled with the idea and thinking they can unlock something that others can't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Could see that for sure.
Yeah. What's his superlative? Again, for all of our top 80 prospects, we're giving them a yearbook like superlative where they're the most likely to do something in this draft class. So what is Niederhauser's?
Most likely to randomly develop some playmaking skills in his first 2 to 3 years in the league.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I know I said you don't really want to play him out of dribble handoffs a ton right now, but like, let's be real. There were the passing flashes were not completely absent at Penn State, and he was playing just for like a destitute roster in Happy
Mm.
Valley. Like it wouldn't be that surprising if it's like this goes into where I was saying about there could still be some upside that's left to untap just based on his experience and or rather inexperience and lack of reps. Like, it happened with Derek Lively. Maybe it happens with Niederhauser as well.
I feel mean, but this is just, again, most likely to, and he is the biggest idea projection guy in this draft. He is most likely to be a Twitter draft darling that everybody is salivating over now in Summer League when he gets like spot minutes next year, whatever. That is never heard from again after the draft. There's one or two of these guys every year that everybody falls in love with the idea and the upside of, and then that's it. They get
Hmm.
drafted and kind of end up in oblivion, and they come up as worst case comps. We do this 5 years later, and we forget who that person was.
Yeah, it's fair. That actually, well, yeah. I think that's I don't want that to be his fate, but I'm very
I don't
curious.
want it to be either. I don't want it
I'm
to be either. But
I'm very curious who your worst case comp is to see if it's someone who fits that billing.
let's start with best case comp first, because I again, I am not like dismissing his potential. His potential is absolutely there. What do you have for his best case comp?
His best case comp, I said Derek Lively. Going off of my superlative, I could see like him being an 8 and 7 guy who blocks a ton of shots, who's really just in there to dunk, play defense, and then make the occasional do the occasional like short role playmaking like Lively does.
I took the guy Derek Lively's best case comp probably is in DeAndre Jordan. Just 7 footer, freak athlete, rim protector, lob catcher. Now,
Hmm.
I don't know how DeAndre Jordan's career would have gone had he not been on Lob City
Hmm.
and the Clippers, but that kind of guy who impacts the game at the rim on both ends with his athleticism, I think that is Niederhauser's best case, right? Where he just is so much more athletic and the team he's on finds a way to use him in that kind of role
Yeah.
effectively, and he just thrives.
Yeah. And I would say even with eight with you said DeAndre Jordan, right?
DeAndre Jordan.
Okay.
I hope I did.
I
I hope
think you
I
did.
mean,
I just almost misspoke and said Aiton, but I meant with Jordan, like for as good of a shot blocker as he was, I could see it with like some of the same like agility limitations, so to speak, that
yeah.
like crept up with Niederhauser as well. So yeah, I could see that.
What about worst case?
Worst case, I said Christian Coloco. This was another guy who was drafted early second round, whose tape I loved at Arizona and was convinced he was going to be a productive NBA player. Prayers up for him. I know he's like medically cleared now. He had the blood clot scare. I just pray that doesn't return and everything. Don't want to be insensitive to that. But there's a chance. And look, Coloco's story is far from finished. Sorry to break out the cliche, but he's still young. He's only 24 years old. Only been in the league for 2 seasons of playing, and this could ultimately eventually be obsolete. But I think the worst case for Yanic is he's really never more than like a 10 minute a game, 2 point per game scorer.
I really like my worst case comp, but I'll just pose this question. Just in recent draft memory, who has been the biggest idea guy that draft Twitter has rallied behind that is no longer playing in the league?
How far back do we have to go for this?
Let's see, when was this guy drafted? 2020.
2020. Man, I was gonna guess Thon Maker, but I thought that might be too far back. 2020. Give me a hint. What league did he play in?
His name is Alec Pokushevsky.
Ah, okay. Poku. Forgot about Poku.
Just guy who could do a little bit of everything, the athleticism, the handle, the skill, like just the idea of the 7 footer or close, yeah, 7 footer who could do a little bit of everything. The idea of what he could be tantalizing. Like he was going to be the centerpiece of a lot of what the Thunder could do, right?
Hmm.
And then if you go through his Wikipedia page, he was with the Thunder from 2020 to 2024. He also spent time with the Oklahoma City Blue 2020 to 2023. He then got traded to the Hornets in 2024, where he spent a lot of time with the Greensboro Swarm, and then is now playing for Partizan in the Euro League. It never worked out for him. Never worked out for him. And I think that's kind of Niederhauser's floor, where the idea remains an idea forever.
My only pushback is that like Poku is probably a third the weight of Yanic. Yanic would snap Poku like a twig.
Yes, that is
But
fair. Right.
I get what you were going
Poku
for from
also
like
has a lot more, I think, a lot more skill
right, right.
than Niederhauser. The player style is not the comp. It is
Yes.
the idea that doesn't come to fruition.
I completely I'm picking up what you're putting down, Ralph.
Yeah,
I just had
another guy who almost put down was Ike Anigbogu.
oh, that would be a good one too. Uh-huh.
Yeah, a little bit, but he's not the athlete.
Yeah,
But the
yeah.
same thing who inexplicably rose in the pre-draft process because he was 18 and look at all the stuff he can be.
Dude, I
And
completely forgot about that guy. Oh, you know another good worst case for him? Justin Patton. Remember him, the Creighton big, who was the same
I
thing.
do
Like
remember Justin Patton. I was so high on Justin Patton.
I love Justin Patton as well. Justin Patton was like the same. I think Justin Patton had like the crazy block rate and was only 18, super young. Okay, he was 6'11", so he's a little bit bigger than EK, but yeah, he's playing for Cangrejeros de Santurce of the Baloncesto Superior Nacional right now. So
Justin Patton and Jarrett Culver are two guys who I will never understand how they didn't work out. And Patton
I'm
was out. Patton was out quick.
dude, he was out so quick. How many NBA games did he play? Dude, Justin Patton played 22 games in the NBA over 4 seasons. That's insane. This dude was taken 17th overall,
Yeah.
16th overall, excuse me.
Oh my goodness.
You're welcome for the additional banter. Good
Yeah.
stuff,
Just
Ralph.
idea guys, get us going down memory lane. Get us going down memory lane. But a wide range of outcomes, I think, for Yanic Konan Niederhauser. Um, the upside is tantalizing, is why maybe a first round pick, but the floor is why he's not a lotto guy.
Mhm.
You can see where he ends up. Find out in draft night.